You ever notice how America always finds a way to turn politics into a circus? We got the clowns, the elephants, the freak show, the sideshow, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the billionaire clown himself, Donald Trump. And what a perfect act he is for this big, dumb circus called America. Trump isn't an outsider, folks. He's not some hero of the working man. He's the product of the very system that's been squeezing the life out of you for years. He's the mascot of greed, the poster child of ego, the salesman of slogans. The guy's not here to save America. He's here to brand it, stamp his name on it, and then charge you for the hat. And the best part? People bought it. They bought it like cheap beer at a county fair. He tells it like it is. No, he tells it like it sounds. He sells you anger in a shiny red package. Oh, nah. He's not draining the swamp. He's filling it with gold-plated alligators. He brags about being a businessman. But let me remind you, this is a man who went bankrupt running a casino. That's like drowning at a swimming lesson. And yet he convinced millions he's the master of deals. That's not genius. That's marketing. That's salesmanship. Trump doesn't run countries. He runs ads. And America ate it up because America loves a good show. Politics isn't government anymore. It's television. It's wrestling. It's noise and spectacle. And Trump? He's the ringmaster, the carnival barker, the clown with a microphone. The whole act isn't about policy or progress. It's about attention. It's about ratings. It's about who can yell the loudest while the billionaires keep counting your money in the back room. So here's the truth. Donald Trump didn't break America. He revealed it. He pulled off the mask. He showed you what this place has always been. A big, loud, greedy circus where the clowns are in charge. And you're just the paying audience. And in this circus, the joke's always on you. Donald Trump is the circus clown isn't an insult. It's a perfect description. Think about it. Politics in America has always been a circus. You've got the elephants, the donkeys, the freaks, the strong men, the fire eaters, and the guys who sweep up the elephant shit. But every circus needs a clown, and America got the biggest, loudest, most orange clown it could find. A guy who doesn't just walk into the ring, he runs in with fireworks, a marching band, and a giant neon sign flashing his own name. That's not leadership, that's a sideshow act. And people didn't just tolerate it, they loved it. Because Americans, deep down, don't want quiet competence. They don't want a boring administrator who quietly balances the books and makes the system run smoothly. No, they want noise, they want drama, they want somebody who makes them feel like they're part of something exciting. And Trump delivered that. Not solutions, not policy. Just endless entertainment. Look at how he talks. Half his speeches sound like the warm-up act at a bad Vegas show. We're gonna win so much you'll get tired of winning. That's not a policy, that's a slogan. That's a catchphrase. He doesn't explain, he chants. He doesn't persuade, he performs. The crowd doesn't listen, they cheer. They chant back at him like a pep rally. That's not politics, that's pro wrestling. He's not debating issues, he's cutting promos. And Americans ate it up because they're conditioned for it. You grow up on commercials, jingles, sitcom punchlines, sound bites, and you don't want long answers, you want quick slogans. A build the wall. A drain the swamp. A make America great again. These aren't ideas, they're bumper stickers. And Trump is the ultimate bumper sticker salesman. He's the kind of clown who knows that the truth doesn't matter as long as you keep the crowd entertained. He doesn't need facts, he needs applause. He doesn't need to deliver results. He needs to deliver moments that make headlines, clips that go viral, and sound bites that get replayed. Every press conference, every rally, every tweet, that was his juggling act, his pratfall, his cream pie to the face. And the press covered it like it was the Super Bowl, every single day. Because what's better for ratings than a clown throwing pies and starting fights in the middle of the ring? And here's the kicker. The clown isn't supposed to be smart, he's supposed to be loud. He's supposed to stumble around, talk nonsense, and make people laugh or groan. That's the role. Trump leaned into that role so hard you'd think he was born in a big red nose and floppy shoes. Every outrageous statement, every insult, every exaggerated promise, that's the clown makeup. And the crowd kept watching because even if you hated him, you couldn't look away. That's the thing about a circus clown. Even when you're disgusted, even when you think the act is stupid, you still keep watching. Trump knew that. He knew the attention was the real prize. He knew that as long as he kept the spotlight on him, nothing else mattered. Forget the boring details of policy. Forget the actual mechanics of governing. Who cares? If the audience is watching the clown, they're not looking at the ringmasters counting the money in the back. That's the role of the clown in every circus. Distraction. While the clown makes you laugh or groan, the real business happens quietly behind the curtain. And in Trump's America, the distractions were endless. Scandals, insults, nicknames, tweets. Every day a new fire, every day a new stunt. And while everyone argued over the clown's antics, the machinery of wealth and power kept humming along unnoticed, untouched, and very profitable. Now, some people said, "Oh, Trump isn't a clown. He's a genius. He plays the media. He manipulates the conversation." Well, that's exactly what clowns do. The best clowns are masters of distraction. They know how to pull your attention away from the real action, how to keep your eyes on the pratfalls and the stunts what makes the act work. And if you think being able to play the fool while still holding all the power makes you a genius, then congratulations, you've just described every great circus clown in history. What Trump really did was expose what Americans actually want. They say they want leaders. They say they want problem solvers. But when you hand them a spreadsheet, they don't read it. When you hand them a complex policy, they don't care. But give them a red hat, chant a show, and suddenly they're alive. Trump gave them a show. He gave them fireworks and shouting and endless drama. He turned the government into a season of reality TV, with cliffhangers and feuds and catchphrases. And the people tuned in over and over again because that's what they were trained to do. The clown isn't the problem. The clown is the symptom. The clown only exists because the crowd demands entertainment. The clown gets power because the crowd would rather laugh, cheer, and boo than sit quietly and think. Trump was the clown, but he was also the mirror. He reflected what America wanted to see. Loud, brash, simple answers wrapped up in a performance. And that's why he fits so perfectly in the circus. He wasn't the wrong guy for the job. He was the perfect guy for the circus act America had turned politics into. Donald Trump's biggest trick wasn't the wall, or the rallies, or even the endless tweets at 3 in the morning. His biggest trick was convincing people he was an outsider. That was the pitch. I'm not like those other politicians. I'm one of you. I'm gonna fight the system, and people bought it. They bought it like a shiny new toy at Walmart, even though it was made by the same factory as all the other crap. Trump wasn't outside the system. He was the system in a fancy suit with a bigger mouth. He's not a rebel. He's the landlord who kicks you out, then shows up at your protest and pretends to care. Think about it. Here's a guy born rich, raised rich, and wrapped in gold-plated everything since birth. His life was a luxury parade of lawyers, bankers, and accountants cleaning up his messes. And somehow he sells himself as the champion of the working man, the guy who never worked a real day in his life. Trump as a man of the people is like calling a wolf a sheep's best friend. He's not in the trenches with you. He's the one who dug the trench, filled it with water, and sold you a ticket to watch yourself drown. The illusion worked because Americans are desperate for a savior. Every election cycle, people get told, this one's different. This guy's gonna shake it up. He's not like the others. It's the same pitch they've been hearing for decades. Only this time it had a celebrity face and a catchphrase. Trump packaged himself as the enemy of the elites while literally being an elite. It's like watching a magician saw a woman in half. You know it's a trick, you can see the wires, but the show is so loud and flashy you clap anyway. He'd go on stage and say, "I'm not taking money from special interests." And the crowd would roar, forgetting that his whole life was one long handshake with special interests. He was the special interest. He didn't come to break the machine, he came to oil it, repaint it, and slap his name on the side. And you could tell he was part of it because the so-called system he was railing against loved having him there. The networks, the corporations, the donors, they made money hand over fist during the Trump era. Ratings went through the roof, ad revenue skyrocketed, newspapers got subscribers back. Everybody cashed in. That's not breaking the system, that's revitalizing it. He didn't pull the plug, he juiced it up. He turned the whole mess into a carnival and sold tickets at the door. He was the system's best salesman, wrapped in the packaging of an outsider. But here's the thing about outsiders. They don't get to the top without help from the insiders. Trump didn't walk into Washington alone. He walked in with billionaires, lobbyists, career politicians, the same swamp creatures he claimed to be fighting. He hired them, he dined with them, he let them run the show while he shouted slogans into microphones. The crowd saw the fireworks and thought he was burning the place down. In reality, he was just lighting up the sky while the same old crooks picked your pockets in the dark. He's not part of your struggle, he's the salesman who profits off your struggle. But because he sneered at the same politicians you hated, you let him slide. He pointed at the swamp, called it dirty, then built a luxury hotel on top of it and made you pay admission. The truth is, Trump was never against the system. He was just against not being the center of it. That's the difference. He didn't want to tear down the walls. He wanted his name on them in 30-foot letters. He didn't want to end corruption. He wanted to be the star player in the corruption game. He didn't want to represent the people. He wanted the people to represent him, to chant his name, to wear his merchandise, to buy into his brand. The Outsider Act was just marketing. The same way he sold steaks, ties, and casinos. This time, the product was himself, and millions lined up to buy it. And that's the trick of American politics. They dress up the same old thing in new packaging, slap on some slogans, and call it different. Trump wasn't a glitch in the system. He was the system's latest software update. Same bugs, shinier interface. People thought they were getting something radical, but they were just getting the same rigged game with a new logo. The illusion worked because people wanted it to. They wanted to believe someone could walk in and fight for them. But the guy they picked was never fighting for them. He was fighting for himself. And in the end, the crowd discovered the truth the hard way. The clown might act like an outsider, but when the circus ends, he still goes home in the limousine with the ringmasters. Donald Trump isn't just a person, he's a symptom. He's the byproduct of a culture that worships money, power, and noise. People like to think he came out of nowhere, like he just appeared one day in a puff of orange smoke. No, America built him. Brick by brick, dollar by dollar, reality show by reality show. You don't get a guy like Trump unless the entire society is already set up to reward showmanship over substance, slogans over solutions, image over reality. He didn't hijack America, he mirrored it. He's America's reflection in a gold-plated mirror, smirking back and saying, "This is what you asked for. You live in a country where being loud matters more than being right, where selling an idea matters more than delivering on it. That's why Trump thrived." He didn't need facts, he needed catchphrases. He didn't need to read, he needed to tweet. He didn't need to govern, he needed to perform. And that's exactly what America wants from its leaders. Not quiet, thoughtful problem solvers, but big personalities, mascots, entertainers. The president isn't the chief executive anymore. He's the main character in the TV show of America. And Trump was the perfect casting choice. Think about the culture that produced him. The United States worships billionaires like they're gods. People drool over stories of yachts, mansions, and private jets. They don't resent the rich, they aspire to be them. They buy the magazines, they watch the shows, they follow the Instagram accounts. They fantasize about the lifestyle. And here comes Trump, who spent decades branding himself as the richest, flashiest man in the room. Never mind how many failures were behind him, how many bankruptcies, how many scams. In America, failure doesn't matter if you can spin it into success. It's all about the show. If you slap your name on a skyscraper and yell about how rich you are, people believe it. And they admire it. That's the culture. Worshipping wealth while pretending to hate the wealthy. This is the same country that turned reality TV into a national pastime. Kardashians, Housewives, Survivor, The Apprentice. People love watching artificial drama play out on screen. So of course the guy who hosted a reality TV show about firing people became the president. It wasn't even a leap, it was the next logical step. Americans were already trained to see him as a boss, a judge, an authority figure. He played the role for years and then the audience voted to make it real. Trump didn't just take advantage of the culture. The culture wrote his script for him. And don't forget the media, they built him too. They gave him endless coverage because he was ratings gold. Rage sells, drama sells, clowns sell. Clown-style networks didn't care if what he said was true. They cared if people tuned in to watch him say it, and they did, millions of them. Every insult, every rant, every outburst was treated like breaking news. They gave him the spotlight, and he knew exactly how to use it. The media pretended to criticize him, but secretly they loved him. He was a human clickbait machine, a living headline factory. And the audience couldn't stop watching. That's not an accident. That's the system working exactly as designed. Trump is also the product of a country that loves to divide itself. Left versus right, red versus blue, us versus them. He didn't create division, he exploited it. He knew that people don't want to be united, they want to be angry at each other. Anger feels good. Rage gives you energy. And when you can channel that rage into a chant at a rally, it feels like community. Trump gave people enemies to hate, slogans to yell, and someone to blame. That's America in a nutshell. Always looking for someone to point at instead of looking in the mirror. He just gave the mirror a bigger frame and painted it gold. And don't overlook the greed. This country is built on the idea that if you just work hard, you'll get rich. But the truth is, the people who get rich are the ones who work less and manipulate more. Trump embodied that perfectly. He was lazy with the details, careless with the truth, reckless with responsibility, but he always managed to spin it into success for himself. That's the American dream, baby. Not working your way up with sweat and labor, but cheating, branding, selling, and clawing your way up with whatever tools you can find. That's why people related to him, even when they knew he was full of it. He was living proof of the hustle, the scam that says anybody can make it if they just bullshit hard enough. The truth is, America didn't elect Trump by mistake. America designed him. Decades of celebrity worship, corporate greed, consumer culture, shallow media, and reality TV paved the road for him. He was inevitable. He's not the disease. He's the symptom. You don't cure the disease by removing the symptom, because if it wasn't Trump, it would have been someone else like him. Someone loud, flashy, arrogant, and shameless. That's the only kind of person who can win in a system like this. Trump is what you get when a society values fame over wisdom, wealth over integrity, and showmanship over substance. He's what you get when you replace education with advertising, when you replace debate with slogans, when you replace thought with noise. He's what you get when you let a circus run for too long and start believing the clowns are supposed to be in charge. And that's the punchline. America didn't just tolerate him, America built him, cheered for him, and put him in the ring. So what do we end up with, folks? Donald Trump, the billionaire clown, the fake outsider, the walking symptom of a country that would rather be entertained than informed. People keep saying he broke America. No, he didn't. He didn't break a damn thing, he just pulled back the curtain and showed you the circus that was already there. He didn't invent the greed, the corruption, the stupidity, the obsession with celebrity. He just strapped it all together, sprayed it orange, and shouted it into a microphone. And the people loved it, they cheered, they booed, they bought the hats, they tuned into the show. Because that's what America does. It consumes. Doesn't matter if it's junk food, junk TV, or junk politics.